Ryan Herron is just an everyday trader. He has been featured on the Traders podcast, written many articles for sites, run several trading-related Facebook groups, and has recently been working on a Forex auto trader. His beginnings were humble by living in a van where he learned to trade from a truck stop lounge. He has impacted the trading community by offering tons of free education and helping traders overcome the struggles associated with the beginning steps of trading. Now, Ryan, let's kick things off in this interview by you telling us a little about yourself.
Well, my name is Ryan. Everybody pretty much knows me on Facebook as Joaquin Trading. I'm just an old family guy. I live in Tennessee. I've got a southern accent, and everything I do revolves around my family. I'm no multi-billionaire trader or anything. I'm just, trying to raise my family, and that's pretty much it. I'm just your average everyday Joe.
You're not a billionaire yet, my friend, but you're still in the works.
Maybe one day.
I'm just interested. How did you first get involved in trading on Nadex?
Well, it's a funny story. Whenever I first started trading, it was in a truck stop. I was trading Forex, losing my rear. I mean, seriously, it seemed like every single trade that I was placing was just going nowhere. I finally figured out Forex. Finally got it figured out after a long time because I'm stubborn and hard-headed. But I started making somewhat of a profit, and as the profits grew on almost every single loss, I looked and I asked myself, well, this is kind of silly, but I did ask this question. I buy auto insurance. Is there some type of insurance that I could buy for losses on my trading account? I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but I was just curious. Is there some type of insurance? So I just started typing in insurance and yada yada, and came up with options. Everybody knows what an option is,
right?
If you don't, look it up. Stock option, whatever, and but I really wasn't interested in buying for a month or 2 months out. I was interested in trying to trade an option for today or the next couple of hours or whatever. And I saw Nadex. Well, back then Nadex was still in its early stages, and I don't believe they offered as much as they offer now. But I started looking at Nadex, and I had no clue what I was doing. So I just started typing in Nadex education because I didn't know how to do it. Came up with everybody knows Daryl Martin. Do you know who Daryl Martin is?
Yes.
Okay.
He's from Apex Investing?
Yeah. So he taught me just about everything I know when I first started. Bull spreads, binaries, and I went through everything I could get my hands on, and it just kicked off from there. And I started trading Nadex as a hedge on my Forex trades. If I was long in, if I went long on the euro dollar or whatever, then I may put an out of the money binary to go short on Nadex, and I knew I'd probably lose it. But in the event the market just tanked, like during news. But that's how I got started.
Starting from square one. We all have our starting points when we're first getting into trading. And hooking up with Daryl Martin from Apex, that's a good, strong foundation to build right there.
Well, he did. He taught me a lot on how the markets are structured and everything. And it just went from there. So that's my beginnings.
And moving on from that, what do the first few minutes of your trading day look like?
Well, I have to have my morning coffee. If I don't have my coffee, I'm just worthless. Seriously, first thing I do, I'll get out of bed, of course, take me a shower and get ready for the day. And it's kind of funny. My wife started laughing at me when I first started doing this, but
right.
When I first started trading from home, the job that I had before I quit the job, I had to wear slacks and a button-up shirt to work every day. And then I started trading from home, and that first day I went and I got ready and I put on my slacks and I put on a button-up shirt. I didn't put on a tie, but I kind of dressed up a little bit. And my wife also works from home, and I think that day she was in, just normal clothes, but I was kind of like in church clothes. And she said, "Why are you wearing that at home?" And I said, "It just makes me feel good because if I'm dressed up, I don't know, it's somewhat of a more professional, whatever." Anyways, so I usually wear slacks and a button-up shirt every day. I don't know, it's just my thing. But I'll come and I'll sit down at my computer. I'll have my cup of coffee here, which I drink all day long. And the first thing I do is just I'll start looking at my emails and stuff for the first 15 minutes, turn on my charts, see what the market's doing. But I won't even place a trade for the first 30 minutes. I mean, I've got to get focused before I do anything. I've learned that if I just jump in and start placing trades, I make mistakes. So I have to see what the market's doing and get kind of settled in. But that's the first few minutes of my trading day. It's not a very long process.
And what's your biggest strength as a trader?
The biggest strength by far for me is the ability to realize that my own brain is trying to work against me. Trading is not so much, in my opinion, trading is not so much about actual strategy, but rather psychology. Look, there's so many good strategies out there. They work. They've worked for a long time. They'll continue to work in the future, but traders cannot do those strategies. Here's why.
Why?
You'll get into a trade. The market will start to go against you, especially on binaries and especially on in the money binaries. You'll get into a trade. Let's say you buy an in the money binary where you're risking, 70 or 80 bucks to make 20 or 30, and the thing starts going against you hard, and you're losing during the trade. But let's say the strategy wins overall, but you close out the trade because you get scared. Okay. Now, there's a difference in closing out a trade because you get scared and a difference in closing out a trade at a predefined stop loss. Those are two separate things. What I'm talking about is when your mind plays tricks on you, when you're sitting there and your palms start sweating, your breathing gets heavy. If your breathing gets heavy and your palms start sweating, you're trading too large. You need to cut your trade size. But that's my biggest, the biggest thing that's helped me by far is the realization that and knowing that psychology plays a huge part in trading. And a trader can take a winning system and turn it into a losing system by breaking the rules. So I would say that would be my strength as a trader, I would assume.
I know I'm guilty of that myself. When you're buying a binary that's in the money and it just turns around on you like that, that's like the worst feeling in the world. Your gut just feels like twisting and turning.
How well I know,
Oh my God. Losing money is just the worst feeling.
Well, I know it's awful. I hate losing money. But how many times have you done this? You get into a trade, an in the money trade, you lose that trade, and then without a strategy or anything, you hop in on the very next candle. I mean, I've done it to try to make your money back, and that's the psychology of the thing. And you do that, you break your rules, and then your whole strategy is just kaput. From then on out, your mind is so screwed up for the next week that you're just like, I'm a horrible trader, and things like that. So, but yeah, psychology is a huge thing in trading.
It's things like revenge trading that just blow out your accounts, especially when you're first starting out. When you take a loss and you think you can just repair it by just going into the trade but in the opposite direction, and that turns on you too. Oh my God.
I blew out 9 accounts when I first started. 9. I had 9 accounts when I first started. They weren't the first few were not very large accounts. They were like $200 and things like that. But revenge trading and there's a term called averaging down when let's say you're in a position and it goes against you and you just keep buying more as it drops because in the hopes that when price races back up just a little bit, you can get out at break even. And that's the number one killer in trading accounts. I mean, that's how I lost every single one of those accounts. And that goes along the lines of kind of revenge trading, I guess. You're just trying to make it back. You can't
Right.
do that, It doesn't work.
And do you have a certain asset that you like trading the most?
Well, I like Forex just because that's what I started with and that's what I'm used to. If I'm going to trade an index, I have no reason, no clue why I like the Wall Street 30, but I just do. I like the Wall Street 30, on the index side. But Forex is what I like the most. And I couldn't tell you why. I mean, trading is trading, whether
Right.
it's stocks or futures or whatever. Certain things move a little bit differently, and certain things are more volatile. Like the pound yen is more volatile than the euro pound. They have different personalities, but I don't know why I like Forex. But that's just what I like.
And what's your favorite indicator?
Well, my most favorite indicator of all time is the Donchian channel. Are you familiar with what a Donchian channel is?
No, I'm not. Can you expound a bit for me?
I sure will, because I love the Donchian channel. Okay, Donchian channel is not really an indicator per se, like the RSI or the MACD and all that. It uses nothing except price. There's no trying to predict or whatever. The way that I trade, it's called trend following. The only thing I do is just I follow price. If price is moving up, I will buy. If price is moving down, I will sell. Now, a Donchian channel gets its name from a guy named Richard Donchian. Richard Donchian is known as the father of trend following. Now, there's a group of people back a few years ago. You can look it up. They're called the Turtles, and they went on to make millions of dollars trading this style. Now, it's a little bit different in Nadex. Nadex, they have expirations. You can't hold on to them forever, but you can still make it work. But all it is basically is this. On a Donchian channel, you can put in, let's say, a period of 20, and whatever chart you're looking at, 1 minute, 5 minute, daily, I don't care. And it's going to look back over the past 20 bars. Over the past 20 bars, if price is going up, you'll be at the top of the channel, and this is an indication to buy. I can't really explain the indicator right now, but if you put a Donchian channel on your charts, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. And but that's by far my favorite indicator ever. And every one of the indicators that I use, for my service and everything, it's derived around the Donchian channel.
And if you had one piece of advice for someone starting out trading, what would it be?
Give it time. Seriously, look, traders, I get emails day after day. Traders will email me and say, I just started trading on Tuesday, and today's Thursday. Will I be profitable next week? I'm sorry. No, you won't. You will not be profitable next week, and you will not be profitable next month. Very, very few people have the actual talent to be a successful trader right off the start. The ones that are successful right off the start, they're just, superstars. But look at it this way. Trading is no different than any other career. If you want to be a doctor, you go to college for 4 years and you go to medical school. If you want to be a lawyer, you go to college, and then, you have law school, and it takes years and years for doctors or lawyers or any profession, to even start making money. And then after they do that, they have to pay off college loans and everything. Trading is no different. Trading is a profession. You have to learn that profession. On average, from every poll that I've done and everything that I've read and every professional trader that I've ever talked to, the average is 7 years. Now, I'm sorry, but that's just what it is. Now, you can be profitable before 7 years, but to be trading for a living or doing it full time, that's what I have found out. Now, I can't base that on anything except from my own research. But you can't come in here and, into the trading realm and be profitable after a day or two. There's so many scam artists online. People don't know where to turn. They really don't.
Right.
They try to follow everybody and follow what everybody else does and follow their trades, but they're not learning to trade. They're just following what somebody else does, and then they lose a trade with that person, and they get irritated and leave and go on to the next group or next indicator, and then they follow that indicator. Trading is, you have to learn how to do it properly. I don't even remember what the question was now, but anyways, starting out trading, what advice? Here's the thing. Give it some time. Start out in demo. Never, ever, ever, ever trade live money until you are profitable on a demo account or a paper account or a very small, if you want to, you can't really do it on Nadex, but if you wanted to trade on like Forex or something with a small micro lot, 10 cents a pip or something, you could do it on Nadex, but just be very careful and become profitable in your testing stages before putting real money on the line. That would be, yeah.
Now, Ryan, are you familiar with the Pareto Principle?
Nope, not at all.
The Pareto Principle is like a principle of sparsity, where 80% of your effects can be narrowed down to 20%.
Yes,
and the
I am familiar.
Rule is it's like the stuff that's actually working. So it's called the 80-20 rule.
I do know the 80-20 rule, but I didn't notice the other funny word you were talking about.
Yeah,
but yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, now would you agree that that's the case in terms of trading?
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, seriously. 20% of your efforts are going to produce 80% of your profits. It's probably more like, 595 as far as I'm concerned. I mean, but yeah, I see it that way as well.
Right.
Because all you have to do, you don't have to try to trade this method and this method and this method and have a basket of things. All a trader needs to be profitable is one thing that works. If you find one thing that works and you back test it over years and years and years, if it's hypothetically worked for the past 20 years, is it going to work today? Most likely. And if it doesn't work today, does it fall within the parameters of a drawdown within that back test? And if it does, you're fine, but all you need is one thing. But it's going to take that 80% of the time to find that one thing that you can do and that works with your personality.
Right. And now, Ryan, we're going to do a little shift here.
All right.
You've had your ups and downs as a trader.
I have.
Take us to the worst. I mean, the absolute worst trade you've ever had and the lessons you learned from it.
I know the worst. I've got two bad trades that I'm thinking of. I'm trying to figure out which is the worst. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, it was October or November of 2008. I was trading on a 1-minute chart. I had just been a trader for a month or two, something like that. I had just called my wife, which at the time was my girlfriend, and I told her I had found the Holy Grail. I mean, I had found it. I mean, I looked at this thing, I checked everything, it all looked good. There was no way this was going to lose. I had some money in an account, and I even added just a little bit more money to it. I bought the euro dollar, and then I averaged down all the way down, and I lost the entire account in no time, less than a week. I mean, it was just gone, and it never not once pulled back up to at least a 10 pip profit, not once. And if you look at a chart on the euro dollar back in 2008, you can see what I'm talking about. And that was the worst trade, not money wise, because it wasn't a huge amount of money. I think it was a total of somewhere between $200 and $500. But that's not the worst. The worst part was calling my wife back up and saying, honey, I was just dead wrong. I was trying to figure out every way in the world that I could think, to fix this. But whenever I had to tell her that I was wrong, her reaction, because she didn't know anything about trading at the time, her reaction, was pretty much, what are you doing? And I felt so horrible. And I realized from that point on, there is no Holy Grail. If you see something that says, I found the Holy Grail online, turn around and run the other way. Actually, I think I did an article one time, I found the Holy Grail, and when people opened it up, I said, no, I'm lying. I haven't found it because there's not one. Because there's not. I mean, there's not a Holy Grail. It doesn't exist.
Right. For those people that think that you can just find that one strategy or that one system that you can win every single time on, it's most likely not going to happen.
No, there's no 100% winners. But you have no idea how many days and long nights I've spent looking for the Holy Grail, and so has probably 99% of all the other traders out there. Everybody's looked. Right. It's not out there. It's not. There are really, really good systems. There are safer systems that are boring. There are more aggressive, more risky systems that are, more fast-paced, that may produce more profits, but there's no Holy Grail, nothing you can rely on 100% of the time. It's all probabilities.
And now, Ryan, we're going to head to the last question of the day.
All right, I am.
Imagine you took a bad trade and had to start all over from square one the next day. You still have all the trading experience you have, but all you have left in your account is $100. How would you start building your account?
First, I would cry. I would cry, and here's how I would start building my account. I would take that $100. If I lost everything down to $100, I would take that $100 and just kind of start building my bankroll. I would, if I knew the knowledge that I have today, I would start putting some money aside, but I would not trade, because if I lost all of that money down to $100, then I'm not a trader. I'm a gambler. I don't need to be trading. So something needs to change if I'm going to be trading again. But I wouldn't trade until I either, number one, got whatever it was in my head figured out that made me lose all that money, or let's say that I lost that money because it wasn't something I did. Let's say there was some, unscrupulous broker or whatever that made me lose that money, something that was, halfway my fault, halfway. The Swiss franc. Let's say I lost all that money because of what the Swiss franc did here a few months ago.
Okay.
If that were to happen, number one, it was halfway my fault. First of all, I didn't lose any money during the Swiss franc. This is hypothetical. If I had lost that would be halfway my fault, because everybody knows that the markets are tampered with. But I would not trade anything until I figured out what was wrong. If you only have $100 to trade with, you don't need to be trading it live, unless you're trading it in some type of extremely small account. Now, there is a binary options exchange opening up called the Cantor Exchange. It's not really ready yet. It's kind of still in early stages, but I'm watching it because they do have $1 contracts instead of $100 contracts like Nadex has. So I would probably look at something like that, something where, if I lost 10 trades in a row, I wouldn't lose that $100, but I would be extremely careful. $100, you can't really do much with it.
When did the Cantor Exchange first open up?
I think it opened technically in 2010, but they've been really slow about doing anything, and it was just recently, about a month ago, when they started kicking it into high gear, and they've still got a lot of problems with their platform and everything, and they have a liquidity problem. Sometimes there are no bids and offers there for you to even trade. But I've talked to Rod over at the Cantor Exchange and Justin from Forest Park, which is their IB. And everything is changing slowly, but they're doing some technology issue changes. They're looking for professional market making firms to provide liquidity. And so they're going to be growing pretty fast here pretty soon, I think. Don't quote me on that yet, but I'm watching them.
Maybe Nadex has some competition coming.
Well, hey, that's a good competition is a good thing. Maybe Nadex will lower their contracts to $1. Who knows? I doubt it, but I love Nadex. Don't get me wrong. I love Nadex. They offer some great opportunities. So not saying anything bad about Nadex.
So let's end things with just one parting piece of guidance, Ryan.
If you are trading binary options, this would be my number one thing that I tell anybody. If you're trading binary options, number one, unless you're trading with a regulated exchange, such as Nadex or the Cantor Exchange or even IG, unless you're trading with a regulated exchange, you are not trading. That money is going to be gone. Number one, if you trade with any of these, they're not broke. These overseas brokers are not brokers. They're businesses. They are businesses, and they're designed to take your money. That's what they're there for. They're designed to take your money. They tell you you can win with us. Well, they're trading against you. If you win, they lose. Why do they want you to win if they're going to lose? It doesn't make any sense. So if you're going to trade binaries, please, 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 I've heard so many horror stories about these overseas unregulated brokers. Please trade on a regulated exchange because if you don't, the risk is just unlimited. I mean, that's my advice.
All right. Well, thanks for being here with us today, Ryan.
Well, thank you for having me there, Henry, and anytime. I had fun.
And you can find more about Ryan at joaquintrading.com. That's JOAQUIN trading.com. All right. Thanks a lot, Ryan.
Well, thank you. I'll talk to you next time.
See ya.